Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. I am so excited for our next guest. I have virtually in front of me Courtney Weaver, who is a dear friend of mine and also just someone who is incredible when it comes to branding and networking and also making you feel special. She just has really great energy. You may have seen her actually on an IG live last year. We did a little makeup tutorial because she's always looking gorgeous and beautiful. And she taught me how to do my makeup.
It was so
honestly,
fun.
I still use those tips, by the way. Like, yay. I really, really do. I still feel though, look at this as a sidebar already. I already digress always. But like, I feel like I still need more color on my face. Like, I just feel like even whatever I do, I just, it's not enough. I feel like I don't put enough pop on my face. So maybe you can help me with that.
I love it.
Anyways, so Courtney, we're really excited to have you today. Welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. We had such a good chat before, so I'm excited to get even more into it in this conversation.
Yeah, very, very excited. Awesome. Okay, first question. It's always a 3-part question. I would love for you to introduce yourself by sharing who you are, what you do, and most importantly, why you do what you do.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm the CEO of Weaver Sales Academy. And what that is, it's an insurance sales training and coaching organization. We help insurance agents all over the country maximize not only their profitability, but their happiness, success, fun, and joy in their agency. So we have a family motto and a business motto of happy, healthy, wealthy. I have this firm belief that salespeople don't have to be sleazy and that when good people make really great money, we change the world. So that's what we're doing in our organization. I co-founded it with my husband back in 2018, actually on an airplane. We were on our way to New Zealand. We had this 18-hour flight. We're both insurance agents and we had a lot of success. And we realized this has to be something that we can duplicate and teach to other people. So they are having more fun in their business. They're having more freedom in their business. They're making more money. What we found was a lot of entrepreneurs get into an occupation and instead of becoming an entrepreneur, they build themselves a job. And so what we are trying to teach and coach is really how to maximize profitability, maximize fun, and not have a job, but have a career that you're super excited, passionate about, and especially in the insurance space, make an impact on the world. So that's what we do.
I love it. I love it so much. And you and your husband are just so sweet. Like the best couple, the nicest people ever. And they practice what they preach. Like you were just traveling for 3 months on the road in an RV. And I remember actually one of the very first people. So Courtney and I know each other from a mastermind that we were in last year. And one of the very first people I connected with was actually your husband. You remember when we went around and had to ask people questions or whatever? Yeah. Michael was the person I spoke with. And I remember one thing he said that was really important to him is he wanted to be able to show people that you can, make a good living, be wealthy, but also travel and, enjoy life. And you guys are literally walking examples of it. And it's so, so fun to watch. It's really, really awesome.
Well, it's just, I think that life is one big adventure and it's up to us to really live it. We traveled for the past 3 months. We bought an RV. So we're both entrepreneurs. We run our business together. We've worked together literally our entire married life. So we married February 1st of 2014. And then we started our insurance agency of April 1st of 2014. So our entire married relationship has been not only as life partners, but also as business partners. So we have this really great cadence and we can really communicate when it's time to kind of stretch out. And when we're in that season of play or when we're in that season of rest or when we're really right now, it's a work season. So we're really executing and we have a lot of things that we're, creating and building right now. But we spent 3 months in an RV and started a podcast called Ambitious Hippies because we just have this belief that you can have it all. You can make a great living. You can have a lot of fun. You can live life. If you want to travel in an RV with 2 dogs and a cat like we did, you can do that. And so we just want to make sure that we're showing our life so people see that as an example.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So a lot of people listening, this is definitely more of like a nutrition podcast, a wellness podcast, but I've always, bring on people who are other entrepreneurs who, have a business like mindset, because I find that whether you are an entrepreneur or not, a lot of the lessons that I've learned in entrepreneurship can be applied to life, right? So like this idea of balancing work and play, sticking to like following through with what you said you're going to do, expanding yourself from like a mindset perspective. But one thing that you actually really help people with is storytelling and messaging. And even I feel like for someone, whether they have a business or not, like we tell ourselves these stories. And I think that leads us down different paths. We can literally go left or right. And depending on the story we're telling ourselves, it's going to bring us to a completely different, end of the road sort of situation. So I would love for you to kind of talk about how storytelling and messaging are important factors with business, but then maybe also too, when people are just like going about their life, wherever that's taking them.
Oh, absolutely. So I think this relates to all aspects. And especially if you're working on, let's say, a nutrition goal, let's take business completely out of it. Let's say that you're focused on hitting that one goal. I think the same correlates in both of why are you doing that? Why is that even a goal? Why is that something that you want to achieve? Because what's going to happen is you're going to be tested the entire time. You're going to be tested because it really has to stick. You're going to have things come up. If I say, I'd like to lose, let's just say 5 pounds. I'd like to lose 5 pounds. Well, throughout this process, if I'm not committed to why I would like to lose 5 pounds, I'm going to have a family barbecue. I'm going to be tempted with a glass of wine. My girlfriend's going to say, hey, let's go, get dessert, whatever that looks like. And if I'm not really rooted in why do I even want to lose 5 pounds? Like, what's the intention of this? It may just be, I want to feel better in my skin. Pull that apart and really dissect that and look at that. Like, why do you want to feel better in your skin? And I think this is where storytelling comes into play, because a lot of us carry these tiny instances where somebody spoke something over us or we said something and we claim it as our entire identity. And then we run with it. So let's say that one time you tried one diet and it didn't work. You create this story of, I never stick to my diet. So then that's how it shows up over and over and over again. So I think storytelling in your life really can be your North Star of guiding you when things get tough. So if you can come with some truth here, and again, I'm speaking in the nutrition space, and I'll go into business on how this plays in, because it's the exact same. But if you can really back that up with some truth of maybe that diet wasn't set up for you to succeed anyways. Maybe it's not you, and maybe it shouldn't be your entire identity. Let's find a way to get some quick wins that we can rewrite that story that you're saying about yourself, and you will show up differently. And the story that you're telling will show up differently. And then that's anchoring into your why too. Again, then it's no longer, I want to lose 5 pounds. It's, I want to spend more time with my kids running around. That's a whole different conversation. Then it's no longer a vanity of, I want to lose 5 pounds. It's, I want to be able to be more active with my children. That is a why. That is something that you can like grit your teeth, sink down into and know, okay, this is why I'm doing it. So it's easier to stick to. The same is true in business. So many people lead with features and benefits. This is what my product offers. This is, what we do. These are my testimonials. Yeah, but why do you do it? That's what I want to know, because if we share a shared belief, then I'm easier and more, it's easier for me and it's more likely for me to buy what you're selling. Because then it's, right. I believe that you can have it all. I believe that you can make a ton of money and have a ton of freedom and have a ton of fun. So I'm going to attract people that believe that same thing. And then that's in line with who I am and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So I think stories really navigate our entire existence. And then what we project and what we put out to people too is all a story. So I think storytelling is such a beautiful thing, and it's a language that we all understand. We've been told stories since we were children. And I think it's really our responsibility, especially in talking in a nutrition space, that you catch the stories that aren't true and start figuring out ways to rewrite those stories.
Yeah. Wow, it's so powerful. And it's true. And you get to rewrite them. So I feel like even if the answers that you keep coming up with of like why something's not working, well, then you get to choose how to say that it will work out. Like you don't have to repeat old patterns or behaviors and, keep trying over and over again in using the same methods. You can try different strategies, incorporate different systems, and like really see, maybe what I've been doing isn't working. And that's maybe you come to terms with that, but you can change the story because you can change, the actions you're taking to get to the next level.
Absolutely. I had this. So I used to be a fitness competitor. So I had, up until that spot, I've been every weight under the sun. And I had this story in my mind that I wasn't disciplined and I wasn't disciplined with my body. Mm-hmm. And so I went to the extreme, which I would not recommend, but I went to the extreme and became a fitness competitor because in my mind, if I could rewrite the biggest story and the biggest identity that I was carrying around about my body and the discipline with my body, then what else could I do in my personal life and my professional life? So that's an extreme example, but I think a lot of us, I think it's important too, to acknowledge that a lot of us carry these really dark and untrue stories, especially as women, especially about our bodies. I mean, that's very real.
Yeah, definitely. But I think even like where I try to get people to understand, it's like, you don't have to go to those extremes, because at the end of the day, what you just said actually is very impactful, because you went to the extreme, but you chose it and you did it because you chose to do it. It didn't matter that it was in the extreme. I think people think that you can only do it if it's in the extreme, but it's like, no, the reason why you were able to do that is because you decided you were going to do that. You got fed up. So it's like, let's get fed up with the extremes and let's just commit to being this balanced version of ourselves, or just being the person that shows up for ourselves. That is that person that, doesn't worry so much about the number on the scale, but like genuinely does the things that makes them feel good in their body and in their skin. And it doesn't have to be an extreme, but at the end of the day, like, you do have the power. That's a great example of, you have the power to choose to be whatever you want to be, and you want it, and you want to know the why behind it. If that's not clear, then it's going to be hard to follow through with and commit to.
Absolutely. And business is the exact same way. If you want a 6-figure business, why do you want that? And you really have to cling to that and don't go to the extreme and then slide back. And I think that bringing that up is really, it's going back to why are you doing that? Are you committed to your why? And then doing the daily disciplines to get there. So.
Yeah. Let's talk about the daily disciplines.
Yeah.
Let's talk about like strategies, systems. What do people need to be putting in place to make either their business profitable, or if they want to start a side hustle, or just like to actually be making real progress?
Absolutely. So I'm a big believer in doing things in threes. So I don't like to overcomplicate it. I don't like to add a ton of things on my to-do list. So I start first with my foundation, and that's my mind, body, and soul. My business is not profitable if I'm not taking care of myself, period. End of story. Like, if I'm not taking care of my health and my well-being, what is it all for anyway? So I think let's start there first. Let's build that foundation up. So I no longer am the extreme of the fitness competitor. I pick one in each category. So mind, body, soul. So I move my body every single day, whether that's a walk, whether that's on the Peloton, whether that's really just a good stretch. I get my body moving. I do something for my brain. So I'm learning something every single day, whether it's a skill set that I need to learn, whether it's a TED Talk or a podcast or an Audible, something that I'm like, I don't know this area of a business, or I have a question. Even what does this word mean? There's been a lot of times where people have said words to me in business that I didn't know what they meant. So that's an area where, okay, I can pick that and I can do that. And then my spirit or my soul. So whether that's prayer, whether that's gratitude, whether that's journaling, I really think having that foundation starts first. Then we go into strategy, and strategy is kind of dismissed because everyone's like, have flow in your business, have ease in your business. That only comes with strategy. You have to have strategy and structure first. Mm-hmm. So I think from going back to this rule of 3, I think the first thing that you have to look at, once you've established your intention, once you establish like a clear goal of why you're doing what you're doing, then you have your foundation of, okay, now here's my, who I am, my health, got that good. Then you have to look at what are the 3 biggest income producing activities, and you have to take inventory in that. A lot of times we get really busy because we're posting on Instagram and we're messaging customers and we're writing an email and we're writing captions and copies and all. What generates money. That's what you need to know, because that's where you want to spend your time. And take whatever mindset you have about money. You're doing this for money. There is an energy exchange that has to happen. So regardless of if you're doing this to get out of your full-time job, or if you're doing this to pay for your daughter's dance recital, there is an energy exchange. So you need to make sure that if you're going to take time away from the people that you love, it's bringing in value from a monetary standpoint. So that would be the first thing that I would do, is look at your 3 biggest income producing activities. So we know that content for us, content is king and queen. So one of our biggest income producing activities is to create content. So hop on podcasts, do reels, create TikToks, all of those things. Is it fun? Not every day, but I'm committed to, that's one of the core pillars of my income producing activities. So I would definitely start there. I would also do again, in the rule of 3s, we always create this long to-do list of everything that we need to get done. Pick the 3 biggest things and do those first. And then that way, if nothing else gets done, at least you had that done. And then from a strategy standpoint, I would forecast. I would look at what are my goals for the quarter and what are my goals for the year, and then just reverse engineer that. And if you don't know, here's the biggest thing, because a lot of times when we're getting started in a side hustle or we're getting started in business, we don't know how to get there. So we stop. We go, I'm just going to default to, I'm going to go make a reel, or I'm going to go make a TikTok because I know how to do that. Instead of stopping, here's the biggest thing, push through that and go, how or who would I ask to help me in this situation? Who knows this that I don't know? It may be on YouTube. A lot of times we discredit.
A lot of stuff is on YouTube. I actually think YouTube is awesome. Like Google, you can get lost in, but like YouTube, you usually can find something good.
I mean, like my master's in business is from online, looking up things that I didn't know, like a funnel and a sequence and all these big fancy words that marketers and business owners say. But I think really don't get stuck in the how it needs to happen. Start asking people that have already done it. Take the free courses, get online and start figuring out, what does this look like? Because if you constantly throw your hands up every time you don't know how to do something, you won't get anywhere.
Right.
Just being totally honest, you have to harness that discipline muscle of all goes back to the why. I'm committed on doing this because this is the outcome that I want. So fall in love with the process. I mean, that's the biggest thing.
I know. I love that. You said something earlier on too about I think once you commit, just get ready because it's going to be a wild ride. Something like, I forget your exact term, but it's true. Either way, it's hard, right? Whether you decide to maybe you have this, it's been put on your heart that you want to start a side hustle or have your own business or now expand your business or whatever it is, or you decided, you're going to stick to the 9 to 5 and you're not going to follow through with it. Either way, if it's been put on your heart, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard whether you decide to follow that path. And it's also going to be hard if you decide to this has been put on your heart and you're just sticking with the 9 to 5. It's just, that's the idea. It's going to be hard no matter what. But I rather take the jump and take the leap and try than always wonder what if.
Oh my gosh. That is the biggest thing. Regret is the thing that I always think, will I regret going for this or not going for this? And you have to just do it. And I think hard is a term that in certain situations we make it okay. And in other situations we don't.
Good point.
So a mother going through childbirth, that's hard. That is incredibly hard. And we know that. And we still sign up and we still say, yes, I'm committed. Yes, I'm going to bring this child into the world. I'm committed to raising this child. That is also hard. So you have to remember that you can't pick and choose your hard. commit if that's what you truly want. And again, it's going to test you. You're going to be tested along the way, just like kids test you as you're raising them. Like it's all in the same thing. But I think that once you really get comfortable with, yeah, this is a process and yeah, this is how it goes. And I'm going to make this as enjoyable as possible. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it can't be fun.
Right.
So you can still have fun with things that challenge you. And that as you're learning, it's just a reframe.
Right.
You know, I learned how to wakeboard at 34. Not something I would recommend. But at 34, I learned how to wakeboard, and it was incredibly difficult because I'm having to learn a new skill set. But I really enjoyed the process of it, not just because I knew the outcome would be fun, but because I was learning something new. There's no goal, by the way. There's no like award. I'm not going to the X Games. I'm like, there's nothing that's going to happen for a 34-year-old wakeboarder. I mean, it's like that ship has sailed. It's gone. But I think it's the same muscle that I've harnessed and that anyone can harness of really just diving into the process and going, yeah, this may suck and this may be hard, but how do I make it as fun and as enjoyable as possible? Right.
Exactly. I love that so much. And it's funny you said that. Nobody knows this yet. Welcome to the podcast, guys. I'm about to share something that I have. This has really been put on my heart, but it's not to be anything good or anything, but like, when I was a kid, I used to go to the golfing range with my dad. And like about a month ago, Bruce and I we had like a coupon to like this really fun, like golfing range. It's called Top Golf. It's like very popular. Yeah. And I don't know if I'm sure it's like a chain. So anyways, we had the best time, and it like reintroduced like that I like golf. And like, so I really have been thinking about it, and I've been talking to my dad. I'm like, Dad, the next time you go golfing, like I want to come. Like, I just want to learn how to golf. And I feel like there's no end game to it. There's no like idea of being the best golfer ever. Not even a chance or a shot do I have that. Like it's not about that at all. It's literally, it's like, I want to have a hobby that it like challenges me a little bit. It keeps me focused, and I can just like let go of just like everything else. I just want to learn. Like, I just want to be a learner and have it not to do with my business, actually. You know, so it's just like, I love that you kind of share that, because I think it's really important. And I feel like that's where people kind of get stuck in ruts and where they feel like either like sad or depressed. It's like, because I think especially as entrepreneurs, everything now, especially with branding, right? Like, I don't know if you've ever felt this way, Courtney, but like for me, I keep searching for things to separate myself from Tips with Tony. And I love, as I'm here speaking on my own podcast, it's like, I want to know who I am without that version. Like, does that make sense?
Yep.
And so it's like, can you speak, like, how can people like do, I guess, is that what you mean by like balancing work and play? Like, do you have any advice for someone who feels like now their business is the only thing and the everything? And it's like part of, I mean, I know it's a big part of us. That's why we love it. And that's why we're good at it. But it's hard. I feel like that part's hard.
Yeah. And I think you have to remember, so this is not my thing. Simon Sinek talks about this too, about the golden circle, about what we do, how we do it, and why we do it. And I think especially as entrepreneurs, whether that's, you know, your full-time job or something else, what you do is not who you are. It is just a way that you express the gifts and talents and how you're going to serve this world. Like, that's it. That is your occupation. And that's going to change more than likely. Yeah. Like, that's going to evolve because you are going to evolve. So if you cling to that identity of like Tips with Tony, or, you know, I used to be a makeup artist. So if I clung to that identity, then it would not give me permission to evolve into what I'm doing right now. And I think that as an entrepreneur, it's really, we have to cling to what's kind of the ethos or the fiber of our being. Like, who are we as humans? Like, what do we want to bring into the world, and why do we want to do that? So for me, I firmly believe that sales doesn't have to be sleazy. And again, that when people make a lot of money, they can have a lot of fun and they can have a lot of freedom. Now, how that vehicle looks is going to be different, but I've built my life first and then built my businesses around it. So I created a life that I wanted, and then started looking around and going, okay, based on my skill sets, based on my talents, and based on my belief system, what can I create and help share and serve in the world? And then I went in reverse order. So a lot of times we will build our business first and then build our life second. So if you flip the script and go, wait, how do I want my life to look? And know that that's going to evolve too. So I get hung up a lot with permanence of, if I start something, I have to do it for the rest of my life. Like if I'm going to work out and do the Peloton for 20 minutes a day, I have to do it every day. And this is what I'm committed to for the rest of my life. Or if I pick this job, this is the job. And it's such a disservice because it discredits our growth.
Yeah.
So I think if I had to give any advice, I don't know if there is a balance, to be honest. I think that this is just life. But I think when you change the hierarchy of what's important to you, then everything seems to fall in line with your values and your beliefs.
I love it.
Yeah.
This has been such a great episode. Courtney, is there anything else you feel like would be important for our listeners to hear, or anything that's been on your heart recently you want to share?
Yeah. So I think, we've talked to a lot of people, especially on your podcast, you're talking in the nutrition space, or if they're in a side hustle. I think it's really important that don't always label things as a side hustle and make them not a top priority. Because if at some point you want that to be your main stream of income, you're going to have to give it the same energy and effort that you're doing day to day.
Right.
So if there is a dream, or if there is an idea, or if there is something that is placed on your heart, something that you can't stop thinking about, don't focus on the how, just start taking tiny action towards it. Because at the end of the day, when your life is over, you're not going to look back and be like, oh, I had these abs and I had this house. You're going to feel really excited about what you went for and the life that you created. But it's going to require some action. It's going to require you to get uncomfortable and to take risks and to be fearless, and what really sets your soul on fire. Don't back down. Don't let the world water you down. Don't let them think you're silly or that it doesn't matter or that you're going to fail. Who cares? Yeah. Keep going. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I love you. This is so good.
Thank you. This is fun.
Remind people of your podcast so that they can give it, because it's brand new and it deserves all of the likes and follows and downloads. Because listen, this has been like 30 minutes of just power. So imagine like your solo episodes, and you said you do it with your husband too, right?
Yeah. So we recorded the whole time when we were in the RV. We actually did an episode a few episodes back about our naked massage experience, which was absolutely hilarious. We had so much fun on it. So it's Ambitious Hippies. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Apple. And if you want to hang out with me on social media, it's Courtney Vi. It's Courtney VIE. So yeah.
Awesome. And I'll put all that in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here, Courtney. For those who are listening, if anything resonated with you, I really encourage you to take a screenshot of this episode, share it on your story, tag me at tips_with_Tony with an I, and also tag Courtney. And like I said, I'll put her link in the show notes. So thank you so much for listening. As always, this is Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.